Hey y'all, it's been hard for me to upload anything. I just can't find a free minute anywhere it seems like anymore, but I don't know. If I make the time, I can do it. This it's always about, well, what do I say? What do I lay out that I should say? And when I start worrying about that too much, I don't do videos. When I just talk off the top of my head, it's no problem. And I guess this is more of a venting to myself or one of those Dear Diary days because there's just so much that's been going on and thoughts bouncing around my head. Just trying to sort it out. Sometimes just talking, I guess the way I think, talking things out helps me personally to sort things out. And I use this anonymous channel to sometimes help me sort through my own mess of life that I'm going through. There just happens to be some people that get a chance to listen and chime in back, and sometimes that feedback is super valuable. And other times, of course, it's worthless. It all depends. But the picture that I'm showing is some artwork that one of my children, my daughter, does. She's an artist. So she worked on that this weekend. And just for visual effect, I thought I would display something while I'm talking. My children, my adult children, all seem to have very unique gifts, very different from each other. And somehow I don't even know how they got them. This particular daughter, we didn't do anything to really teach her art. She just was born with it. She knew how to do it instantly. She was 10 years old and creating art that was phenomenal. No training whatsoever. She just could do it. In fact, one of her pictures at the age of 10, she knew nothing about the world of art, famous artists, nothing like that. She drew a portrait which didn't look all that wonderful to me. It was I mean, it looked wonderful for a 10-year-old. For a 10-year-old, I thought, my God, that's incredible talent. But in the world of art museums, I wouldn't think that it would be a piece in the Louvre or something like that. But she drew this out from her mind. She just made it. It was a profile of a older man who appeared to be screaming, something like that. So years later, my wife goes to Paris and she's in the Louvre. She's with this daughter because she's got an interest in art, and she comes across this exact same drawing that my middle child drew at 10 years old. I mean, the exact same picture, and it was in the Louvre. And I think it was Da Vinci or somebody like that who had drawn it. So my wife actually screamed out loud in this quiet, subdued building. She screams outside out loud. I mean, just in shock and amazement that picture that our 10-year-old drew was hanging there. So we all seem to have in life these abilities that we sometimes are just gifted with. There's no work involved. You just have it. You don't need to even, I mean, my daughter's always working on developing her art and trying to get it better, but she just knew a bunch of stuff innately, just born with it. Didn't come from me, that's for sure. I'm a stick figure drawer. But it's interesting to see, like, why do some people come to this life with these talents and abilities just in them without needing any any assistance, any development? They just have it. And other people like me just seem to be bumbling around, messing up left and right, can't do anything right. I don't know. My other daughter, she's very talented in being organized and has a tremendously strong will. If she sets her mind to do something, it's going to get done. And she's got a tremendous discipline, and she can be kind of tough on people too, in that, where her expectations are pretty high, but she's got that. And then my son, he's the engineer. He was like born with this amazing intellectual ability, and his personality is such that I find myself envying and being impressed by his talents because I'm so deficient in my social skills. And he just has the ability to, I don't know, play politics very well. Everybody loves him, and he never seems to offend anyone. And everywhere I go, it's the opposite. I tend to be just very free, very free flowing and loose with my thoughts, feelings, and emotions. I just let them out there. I don't guard them. I don't restrain them back. I don't know how to. This. How do you not speak your mind honestly and openly? And that lands me in trouble over and over again, especially in my work environments, because I say something thinking that it's an innocent comment or just a matter of fact, and all of a sudden I'm chastised for making the remark or copying a person I shouldn't have copied or not including somebody in an email that I should have included. My God, I can't do anything in this world without offending somebody every single day. Every day I do something wrong. There's so many fragile personalities out there that you have to tiptoe around to make sure you don't offend anybody. It's mind-numbingly crazy, and it makes me just long to live as a hermit, to live in a cabin out in the woods, to be away from all, I'm going to say in quotes, civilization, because it doesn't seem civil at all. I'm sick of society and all the little nuances of rules that you're expected to obey these days. And freaking email etiquette's driving me nuts. But just in general, you can't even say anything without offending anybody. My son has no problem in this work world. He doesn't speak to anybody about hardly anything. And when he does speak, his words are very precise and exact, and he always seems to know just the right thing to say. So it never offends anybody, and it's never too much. He's very introverted. He's very conserved to himself. He just doesn't do what I do. I step into the crap all the time, and he never does. He never seems to have this issue. I, on the other hand, and I envy it. I envy that skill, his ability to navigate the social um, politics that our society requires of us now. He navigates it perfect, just so well, and I don't have it, and I realize that. And this last year or two for me has been very difficult. It's been like playing Hunger Games with my jobs. I tend to, ever since the the events of 2021 and all the mandate things. And I was literally told on a Friday, don't come back to work unless you've complied to this on Monday. And of course, I didn't comply, and I showed up, and nobody said anything. A few days passed, and I asked the HR guy, "Whatever happened to that? I didn't, I'm not in compliance." And he said, "Oh, the governor stopped us." So thank God for Texas and the governor of Texas, because he put a stop to it. But I literally was being faced with not having a job. Not only not having a job the upcoming Monday. This is the stress I have over the weekend. Not only am I stressed about not having a job, but I'm stressed about whether or not I had a career, period, because it seemed at the time everybody had to fall in line with this. If you didn't, you're just out of your profession. And what do you do? What do you do when the work you've done your whole life and you've trained for and invested in, and this is all you know, and this is all you seem to get any decent pay to do, all of a sudden you're not allowed to work in that realm. It's a very sobering thing to have that much power, that much authority and power over us. And then the question is, well, maybe I should just go ahead and comply because there's people depending on me. I have family, adopted children, things. It's not just me that's affected. There's people that are depending on this work and this income. So what is the right thing to do? That was the dominant question. So anyway, I didn't lose that job in this game, this Hunger Games world. But then I went ahead and resigned within 3 to 6 months of that incident anyway. I resigned because somebody came bebopping along with this great offer that seemed to be substantial, and it seemed to be time because I had plateaued and I wasn't going anywhere with that other job, and I wasn't being appreciated. At least I didn't seem to feel like I was appreciated. Based on my last review, I wasn't being appreciated, so I thought I'd spread those wings. That was a disaster. I walked into this next job finding the politics to be extreme, the butt kissery to be extreme, and then a VP who was grooming one of my employees to be their lover. By all appearances, that's what it really did seem, and it was extremely disruptive. There was no way for me to be successful. I've replayed that thing in my mind 1,000 times, and I can't see anything that I could have done to have changed the outcome or the circumstances in any way. I was doomed for failure from the day I walked into that position, and it lasted all but five or 6 months. And then, God willing, I landed another job, and I had so many great interviews during that time. I mean, there were interviews that I was just dying to get. I mean, there were jobs that just seemed great, and I was super excited to potentially get them. But instead, I got this dumpster fire job, and I was told by them when they were hiring me, this is a dumpster fire, but it was the only job I was being offered. It was it. Pay wasn't great, and it was hell. It was terrible. And I got in there, and it was nothing but super abusive, super impossible, no resources. I mean, one of the worst positions I'd been in, and it was literally killing me. I felt my heart, my chest, my anxiety, my lack of sleep was through the freaking roof, and I had to get out of that situation or I was going to die. Literally, that job was killing me more than I think any job. So that Hunger Games job lasted about 6 months, and I amazingly landed into another one. I did have some gaps in my employment, which got me into the hole with credit cards, just trying to survive, and I'm still trying to dig out of that hole. But I got into this other job. Again, corporate America. I seem to be surviving this one a lot better than the last two. And I think the last two have given me PTSD. I'm ultra, trying. I work Monday through Friday, 13 hours a day. 13 hours a day. I'm here, and then I'm on call through the weekends. And I don't know. It's just, hey Sam, just it's nonstop. So what am I supposed to? I don't know what more I can do. I'm pushing it. I'm burning the candle at both ends. Last night I had insomnia. I woke up, I don't know, 2:30, 2 a.m. You just lay in bed, you can't sleep. What are you supposed to do? So I get up, I get to work. So today I'm at work by roughly 4 a.m. But usually I'm here every day by 5. But I know because I was laying in bed last night not sleeping, it's going to be a rough day. It's going to be a rough day at my desk. I'm going to be pushing myself hard to get through the afternoon. And once last, I don't know, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, it hit me so hard, the insomnia, and then the tiredness during the day hit me so hard that I dozed off for a second at my desk. And this other guy who's, he's I don't know. I have to work with him, but I don't have authority over him, and he doesn't have direct authority over me. But he approached me not with any kindness at all, not to say, hey, you might want to, do something about that. You can't nod off your desk. He just came at me with seething hatred, like venom in his voice, and attacked me for nodding off. And I was like, I apologized. I said I didn't even realize it happened, blah blah blah. But I took this browbeating because I just physically can't always survive anymore. I mean, I'm getting older, and I wish that life could be easier in that way. And then another guy browbeat me the other day because I sent an email and I was following orders from somebody in my department, my world, saying, do this. I did that. This other guy from another department calls me up, seething hatred, saying, don't I dare tell him or any of his team what to do. And God, I'm not allowed to ask his team to do anything for me, and I should copy him on every single communication that I have with them. So this is, I mean, all I did was tell people to not go into a nursing room. And legally, I don't know what to call these rooms anymore because they keep changing the names. I literally see like 5 or 6 different names for nursing or lactation or mothers, in this weird world of environment where pronouns mean everything. Nobody can decide what to call this stupid room. But because the lock mechanism didn't work properly, somebody was able to walk in on another person while they were in there doing that. And it sparks a lot of legal exposure and all kinds of crap. So I'm scrambling to get this resolved, and I send out an email to everyone saying nobody is to go into this room until further notice. And that, for that simple email that I sent out as directed, this guy calls me up with this seething hatred. I'll tell you, I hate this world. I hate this place. Everywhere I go, I see idiocracy, stupidity, fragile sugar dumplings that, snowflakes, whatever you want to call them, that you can't say anything to without them getting offended. And it's just a stupid world. That's all I am. I'm venting here. It's a stupid world, and I would be so much happier if I didn't have to be around anybody. I believe. I believe. Just try me. They say solitude is torture in itself, and the old Twilight episodes used to center on this theme sometimes of someone being absolutely alone, isolated from all, society, and that'd be like a fate worse than hell. It was just such of a terrible concept, and I think about those episodes, and I think, I wish, man, I'd like a breather. I'd like to just get away by myself for a little while and not have to deal with this mess anymore. That's uh, maybe I'm messed up, but that's my convoluted thinking as of late, and all these stupid jobs that feel like I'm in the Hunger Games. Well, I guess that's getting it off my chest, which I need to get it out somewhere because Lord knows I'm not allowed to talk about this stuff to anybody that's real or alive or NPC. Who knows? Who knows if they're real or if they're NPC? Sometimes I wonder because sometimes when I'll bring up subjects with a person and they just shut down or ignore the comment completely, like they don't respond, are they choosing not to respond because they don't have anything to say that would be positive, or they are afraid to get into an argument, or do they shut down and not say anything because they're NPCs and they don't know how to compute the question? I don't know. I come across this from time to time, and I feel like poking and saying, I'm sorry, did you hear what I just said, or did you understand my question, or can you acknowledge my existence in one way or another, that I just made this statement? Hello, you're waving your hand in front of somebody's face. Hello, are you there? Because you wonder, are they robots that have just shut down at my bringing awareness to something that I'm not supposed to bring awareness to, or are they just internally not deciding themselves they don't want to answer? They are choosing to be aloof, which to me is rude, but whatever. That seems to happen all the time. I never know. This is funny because you know I was reviewing Socrates and his defense in his trial, for which he was eventually executed, or I think he took the poison to die. I'm not an expert in philosophy, but I enjoy philosophy. I like hearing the stories. I don't take notes and commit all this. I don't commit every little detail to memory, but I find it fascinating that Socrates was basically on the chopping block because he asked too many questions and he pissed off people. I was like, man, I feel your pain. I feel like just asking an honest question that I don't know the answer to offends people. I guess it's not just our today's society. It happened back then. It offends people so badly that you ask the question and you're just honestly trying to find the answer. And when you point out that they don't know what the hell they're talking about, and maybe they're not as smart as they pretend to be, that pisses them off, and everybody wants to kill you. I mean, that's essentially the story of Socrates. He asked too many questions, he pissed off too many people, and that's what he gets. That's me. That's me in the I'm going to put in quotes here, air quotes, professional work environment in this society we live in. You ask questions you honestly don't know the answer to, and you've pissed people off. Now, not meaning to, just my problem is I'm too dumb to realize whether or not I'm going to say something to piss somebody off. So I've got literally PTSD about opening my mouth and asking questions anymore. It's just a question. Why does my not knowing the answer to anything in this life, whether it be how to put in a work order properly or to purchase something and what budget it goes to, from there to all the way up to the meaning of life and what happens after we die, and is reincarnation a thing or not, or does God care and listen to everything I do? Does Satan listen to my thoughts? Does he exist? All these higher, I mean, I'm just spitballing all kinds of things out, but you ask these big questions about the meaning of life and what is virtue and what is ethics, and is it wrong to do this, right to do that? You ask these questions because you don't know, and you offend somebody comes back seething with hatred towards you in comments because you just honestly don't know. And then you've got other YouTubers that are out there that just spit out their ideas like they're absolute fact and nobody should question them, and they know, they just present themselves like they know everything. Absolutely. They don't have any questions about reality. They've got it all figured out. It just blows my mind. It seems to me like YouTubers like myself and others like Quantum of Conscience, you listen to guys like that. It feels like we would, if we were back in the days of Greek and Plato and Socrates and all that we would be basically doing the same thing we are now. We're throwing our ideas about life, meaning of life, reality, how this all fits together, truth. We're trying to establish truth, understand how the world is knit together, understand who runs the world. We're throwing out all of these ideas and trying to figure it out. We're just like those guys that were philosophers way back when. We're all trying to figure it out. We're all asking the questions, but some people apparently have it all figured out, and you dare not disagree with them in any way, or they get all upset. I feel an affinity towards Socrates if he actually existed, but I feel an affinity towards his plight, and that asking questions gets you in the doghouse so easily. I totally get that. I sympathize or even empathize with that action because I seem to get myself on the chopping block for doing the same thing so often. I mean, most of us here in the land of YouTube or wherever you express your views and ideas, and where you're talking it out. I mean, I think a lot of philosophers are just like me. They just needed to express it verbally to help their own thought process to figure things out. So writing or talking, it just helps you think it through. That's, for me, a lot of what life is just talking it out and thinking it through. So when the Mandela effect hit me back in 2016 and I decided I just have to start documenting what's happening to me, I have to put this down somewhere, I realized this in many ways has just become a diary where I am helping myself to think things out. And God knows you can't talk about the Mandela effect with the world. So it was an avenue and a channel for me to get it out of me and to think it out. And now I find myself doing it with the Hunger Games work environment, just thinking it out here. So I don't care about, trolls and haters too. I mean, there's always somebody that puts uh, hateful comments in, and at first it happened like every time I put out a video constantly, but nowadays it's not so much, and it doesn't really bother me so much now. It's like, whatever. I'm just doing it for this reason, and I don't care. But it's been a while since I've plopped anything out there, and sorry about my diarrhea of the mouth, but sometimes I just gotta say it. So have a great day, have a great week, and God bless.